Hey everybody, welcome to CJoy and Expand podcast. I'm your host, Christian Joy, and welcome to this episode. This is part two of Stormy Sage's podcast chitty chat because they're not really interviews. Like, I like my podcasts as a place for us to hang out and talk, like have real conversations and just share it with people, like whatever the hell we're talking about. Because often I like have conversations with folks and I'm like, this could have been a podcast episode. So now it feels like now that I'm really stepping into the work that I do and really understanding like what wants to come through me, what does universe spirit, aka me also, like what wants to be shared through me in my work is that maybe it's not all serious business. Maybe it could be just joyful and fun and um I've been having a lot of fun, like understanding that that like media and showing up on video and audio and what have you in all the ways I want to show up or what resonates and how I show up. It's like leaning in on that. It's starting to resonate and feel more fun, for more joyful. It's just I've been just like really having a blast with it all as I let my path unfold in my work. I could tell you, and if you listened to part one already of Stormy Sage's my conversation with Stormy Sage, I could tell you I never thought of myself being on camera. Never, ever, 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 ever. Like I even shared that in there so you get to see that conversation in part one. Um, by the way, I have Becoming Your Technicolor Human life coaching container with quantum hypnosis. If you guys are interested, I have been marketing it as or sharing the message that the doors will be closing on June 2nd. But now that the date is coming closer, I'm starting to lean like I'll be extending the date. So we'll see. I will formally announce it on June 2nd whether I'll be extending the deadline to sign up for my coaching container. I'm feeling it out, and that's just what it looks like living an intuitive life, living the intuitive path, listening to your signs and messages and stuff like that, letting um like living in ebb and flow. Like you have a plan, and then I think in Renee and Christine's episodes, we talk about the different way people um, carry themselves. So in human design, it supports whether you live in ebb and flow or if you live more in structure, and neither is good or bad. It is. And I am more on the ebb and flow side. And in contrast, their podcast is very structured. So my podcast is ebb and flowing, and this is what it looks like to see what ebb and flow looks like. Because I think a lot of people are familiar with contrast, but what if you're the person who, especially when you have human design to support that you're an ebb and flow, go with the flow kind of person? What does that look like? And I like to embody and show and display what it looks like to live life differently. And I remember we had a little giggle about it in one of their Christine and Renee's episodes about representation. I don't mean the way I use the word representation is that I needed to see someone who did something a particular way to know that I could do it too. And it doesn't have to do with the conventional use of representation. I always needed somebody who embodied a certain way of being that I was like, oh, I can do that too. I can do it that way also. That's why I love travel also. You get to see different ways that things are done in different countries, by different people or different cultures or different groups of micro communities. Like there are 8 billion people on the planet. There's that many viewpoints, perspectives, and ways of doing things. So I have Stormy Sage on this episode for part two, and she's like the embodiment of what I envision of you being your Technicolor human. This is my Technicolor human. This is how I operate in the world. I am all over it looks like I'm all over the place, but there's a divine coming together of like it all makes sense. Like every time I trust and allow myself to show up the way I want to show up, things just fall in place in the ebb and flow. So whether you are a structured person or not, um, there's no right or wrong way to do it. Universe is infinite and limitless as to what is possible. So back to Stormy Sage, she's the living embodiment of somebody who lives their Technicolor human. And I hope that in following her, if you choose to, if she resonates with you, that she activates something within you because I've known her for years now and she's been a big activator in the way I want to courageously show up and boldly show up is the way I am. So enjoy part two of this interview. I may be extending my the deadline for my doors to sign up for embodying your Technicolor human. And like, subscribe, follow, leave a 5-star review, comment wherever you're following or listening to this podcast. I'm on YouTube, Spotify, and all podcast platforms, and on Substack. All these video goes on Substack, so my whole body work is there. And I appreciate and have so much gratitude for all of you listening in. And enjoy this episode and leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you guys. Like, really, talk to me. I love talking to everybody. Whenever somebody like leaves me a message and they're like, oh my God, someone's talking to me. Let me talk to them back. Granted, I don't know that I always reply right away because I'm not always on my phone and my notifications are off. But when I am, I'm like, oh, messages. So just FYI, if you're expecting a reply right away, just so you know, my notifications are off on my phone. Um, so yeah, enjoy this episode.
It is. It does feel like slaying a
Yeah.
fucking dragon
Yeah.
in your body. I
Yeah.
love that you said that because I just I release quantum hypnosis recordings on Fridays and I just released one and it's very of the times and it was about war and rage and
Mm.
anger energetics. I had a lot of anger. My rebel side of me identifies with the rage piece. Like when people tell me who to be or
Yeah.
how to be, I'm like, hi, like I want to like scream.
Yeah.
But no, there was like a dragon lifetime. Like she was connecting to dragons in that one, and that was
Mm.
really cool. Also, I love that you brought up dragons because I grabbed the crystals. Remember we were talking, so Stormy and I were on a live not too long ago while we were like learning how to use TikTok live.
That
I
was a
like
mess.
I brought it up. No, it was amazing. I loved it. And this is how you learn. This is how anybody,
Yeah.
okay, if you want to be a content creator or whatever you're getting into,
Yeah.
how do you learn how to do that thing? Like my mom used to say this, is like before she became a case manager, she was like an ICU nurse for a long time. She wanted
Yeah.
to know what it was like first. Like, how is that even possible? Like, what in your brain, our very smart brain, like, does that even make sense? But she's like brilliant. She's so smart. She like graduated magna cum laude in her class back in school, like in the Philippines, but like
Wow.
really prestigious
Uh-huh.
school back there. But anyways, that's how crazy like the brain is. Like you can't always trust what it's saying. But back
Mm-hmm.
to dragons. Um I grabbed we were on live, we're experimenting and trying to figure it out. I think I got it down. And then like anything that I come up with, I tell her like, "Oh, this is like what I learned now." And it's like very useful. Like you don't have to figure it out on your own. And I
Oh
love
yeah.
that community energy is coming through hot in the coming years, coming
Hmm.
decades. And that was the hypnosis where my crystal fell apart.
Whoa.
And remember, I was telling you about, because I remember you had an aura ring,
Hmm.
and we were talking about aura rings, and I told her, I was like, I had to get a new one because I started doing Reiki and I had to start. I noticed the battery would drain on my ring, and I realized there's a quartz crystal in aura rings. They use that mineral. And then I let the battery drain. Like I lost it somewhere in like the side of the bed and the wall. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a break from it. And then when I found it again, when I was ready to use it, I tried to charge it. It would not charge at all. I like destroyed it with Reiki unintentionally. It couldn't hold that energy or magic.
Note
So,
to self.
uh, yeah, note to self. So I try not to see my aura ring. Do not do energetic work with your technology on your fingers. And and so it was really interesting in this hypnosis because towards the beginning when she was tapping into her soul memory, she was connecting with like a shadow warrior who was like a very angry rage energy. And I started getting sleepy and I was like, let me like, I feel like putting my head down. And I kind of did this and I was like, wait a second, I can't be falling asleep during a quantum hypnosis. Like, I know once I go horizontal, I'm out like a light. So I was like, okay. And then for whatever reason, I was like, you know what? Do I have my black tourmaline on me? Like, so it's like probably 6 feet away on my windowsill, and I use it to absorb energy, like especially when I work with clients. And I always like wonder, like, does it really need to be on your person whenever I work? And I didn't even think about it, and I was like, let me just bring it closer to me. And once I brought it closer to me, I woke back up. If you're like watching me on video, I'm making lots of gestures, and I woke back up. And then when I grabbed it, I was like picked it up and I was like, and like chunks of it had fallen off. And then as we kept going on in the hypnosis, like a one more chunk came off in my hands while I was holding it. I have the black tourmaline here if you want to see it. Actually, I'm going to show it to you. That's why. Like I
So
remember when I
crazy.
was setting up and I was just like, I feel like I need to bring this with me. So this
Hmm.
is what it looks like. This
Oh
is
my
what it
gosh,
looks like.
it's a big boy.
It's a big boy. There's a hole in it. It didn't have this hole before. If you can see that hole. And right here there's a chunk missing. Can you see that?
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's nuts.
These are the pieces
Whoa,
that fell off of it.
that's wild.
And I was like, if you think crystals aren't real, then this is my proof.
No. I mean, they're already used in so many things, and, like, I feel like as we
Yeah.
continue
Our
forward, we're
aura rings.
yeah, like, what? You know? Yeah. Oh, we should circle back to the hair. We didn't finish our hair thought.
Ah, let's do that.
Yeah, what's your, okay, wait, so we were talking about colors, and we were talking about and then we were talking about length, but
I
before
think we
I
talked about colors in the last interview too.
probably.
We love color.
What
Color's great.
yeah. What has been, like, your, experience with, like, hair? Like, where are you at in your hair journey right now?
Okay, so back to money and my fast growing hair, it was very challenging for me to not have a haircut and then just this all like growing out really long. And I was like, and not feeling like it. I was like, the part of me is like, this looks crazy. Like I can't handle it. Like but now that I've done it so many times, I'm like, it's fine, it's whatever. Like I'll let it, it's long, whatever, I don't
Yeah.
care. Like, but before I would care. Like if you're not used to a particular hairstyle or seeing your hair in a different way, like I wore my hair long for a very long time. And
Mhm.
then I'll have those moments where I'll just like lop it all off. I remember when, okay, this is a crazy story. When I was still working as a secretary, one of my first hospital jobs. And I was just like, why don't I just cut my hair? And I didn't think nothing of it, but at the time, this was like in the 2000s, I cut my hair in the office while I was at work. Like somebody got like the scissors and I was just like, cut
Oh,
it, it's fine. And my hair was really long. I always grew it out really long because I didn't want to spend money on it. And I'm pretty sure everybody thought I was crazy after that. I'm pretty sure that
oh
story
my
traveled through
God.
the hospital after that. But for me, I'm like, it's whatever. It's hair. Gross.
That is so funny. Okay, so you were like, you've always been very non-attached to your hair.
I'm. Am I? Oh, I have a story about that too. And maybe it's connected with this. This is really crazy because I haven't really thought about it this way. Why I'm not whatever, I'm with it, whatever about my hair is that I remember that picture of me when I was a little girl and she has that long wild hair.
Mhm,
My dad
mhm,
had taken me to get a haircut and lopped the whole thing off because it was just so wild and crazy. I
mhm.
cried so much. I cried
Oh,
so much after that. And maybe
oh,
that's why I'm not attached to my hair because of that
yeah,
and why I won't touch it. Like I need a hairstyle. Like that's why I kept my hair
yeah.
long for a very long time and then like trim it once in a while. I wouldn't spend money on it. And that's really interesting how money comes into it too.
Mm,
The
attached to
relationship.
hair too.
Relationship. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's like it's okay. It's gonna grow out really funny and it's
Mhm,
fine. Like I said, another reason why I wouldn't hop on video for a while too is like my hair looks
mm,
crazy right now.
yeah.
Like I don't even know what to do with it. My mom, like nobody knows what to do with their hair in my family. Like it's not a skill that we learned, but now that creativity has come in, allowing myself to explore, get curious and stuff like that, I was like, I'm just gonna pin my hair a little bit right here. And I
It's
was like,
cute.
oh, that's cute.
It's cute. It's really cute. I always find
Thanks.
hair was always easier for me um to do. Like I naturally feel like I did my hair well versus like when we come back to like
I
makeup and
love what you
stuff.
do with your hair. I like get
Um
so you guys like do yourself a service and just follow Stormy on TikTok. Her like even when we first met in Panama, like her expression and the way she just like is in the world, how she exists, just like is so exhilarating and I just
cute.
before we even like started recording, I was like, "You're so sparkly," and she thought I was talking about her glitter on her face, and I was like, "I didn't even know you had glitter on your face. I was talking about your personality." But she's like one of those people that like so during like when I was in TBM, like they encourage like follow people that you want to be more of, that help you, like that you resonate with, that embolden you to be that person that you want to be.
Yeah.
Stormy's one of those people for me, and how she shows
Oh,
up
thank
on social.
you. That's so sweet. Oh my gosh. I love that. Yeah, I feel like hair's been is so interesting because yeah, like I was really attached to it. When I had it really long, it was like past my boobs, like for as long as I could remember, like in my mid 20s or no, early 20s. And then when I had chopped it, like in nursing school and stuff, that was my first experience of that kind of learning non-attachment with hair. And the same thing that you like bawled your eyes out too. Like here I was, and I chose to do it, and I was like, "Oh my god, what did I just do?" But then it allowed me. I don't know. It started to change the way that I did it, and like the way that I experience. I mean, the way that I experience life changes like as I have different hair, and I go through different like growth spurts with it. And we were just talking about this like before we recorded, where it was like right now I feel like I don't really feel like I'm in a growth spurt right now. I feel like I get to really enjoy this period of my hair. And maybe it's been a year now But I used to have both of my sides shaved, and then my back, I had like an undercut and sides buzzed, similar to how yours is on the side. And so then I went this whole last year kind of like growing it out in what that like uncomfortable stages of like, I feel like feeling at one point I had like 5 different hairstyles, and I was like, what am I doing? It's just like, it feels so weird because it's like one of those things that starts to challenge like your identity and like how you view yourself, how others view you. And it's a very interesting
So
exercise,
crazy.
and you're like, you don't even
It's
realize it's
crazy.
happening until you're going through it. And you're like, why am I having such a meltdown? But so yeah, I just like being able to go with it. And so like at one point I like, cut short bangs and cut like almost like a 20 style bob to like grow out the undercut, and being able to like twist. I like doing like little twists and little clips and like little fun things like top knots, cuz like it's just fun. So then when I'm in different growth periods where it doesn't feel fun, or it feels like I'm like, oh, I just want to pull my hair out like one of those Barbies so it could just grow. And so like getting past those points, like you have to go through it. And in that process, I learned so much self-acceptance, because I'm like, well, it is what it is. I have to feel really good in this stage, because it is what it is. There's nothing you can do. And so yeah, now I finally feel at like a period of time where like, okay, all my sides are grown out now. It's all one length for the first time in years. And it feels really fun to kind of play with. And yeah, a few people are like, how do you do your bangs? So I was doing like a bang tutorial on TikTok, and I was like, this
I
is so weird for me
love
to
that.
do.
Your bangs are so cute. I was
And I,
like, I love bangs. I love bangs. I don't care what anybody says.
yeah,
Everybody's like bangs are, or whatever people think about bangs. I've always thought bangs were cute.
yeah,
And the way
me
you do the little
too.
twisties on the end, I
And
was
this
like,
is by
oh,
accident. My bangs were, so I usually love like a short bang, which is so funny because like I don't have a big forehead to do this. So like my bang has to be so short for it to be a short bang. So like I'm not the forehead for that look, but I always love doing it. And every time I try, it just like doesn't work out. And so I had regular bangs, and then they were a little too long. And this is just like kind of story of my life. They were a little too long, and they were in my face, and they were too short to like pin up in my like ponytail. So I started flipping them to get them out of my eyes. And then
oh, how
yeah, so it's
funny.
just by
You're
accident.
like
And I
out
was
of
like, wait, this is
convenience.
kind of cute.
Not
And I
convenience, but or
yes, out of necessity,
a
because
need to
I
see.
just like learned how to work with the hair that I had. And so even just doing like a little flippies, like just little things like because again I get lazy
I
about stuff.
love I
Yeah.
love
So I
that
don't
sentence that you said in there though. Like
what?
learning to learn, learning to learn or learning to work with the hair you have. And that
Yeah.
has been my journey. I love that it's coming up in here, but that had
Yeah.
been my journey with money is learning how to exist with the
With the
resources that
money you
you have in
have.
this
Yeah.
moment. Not
And
even
seeing that,
money, but like
yes, the
the
abundance
abundance
that's
around you.
around.
Like, oh my God, I actually have a lot of things. You'll be
Yeah.
surprised what's in your closets, you guys, that you
Literally.
forgot
And
that
that's even what I've been doing with jewelry and stuff. I'm like finding things I had back in high school, which I've been in a very 90s vibe recently. And I'm like going back to old jewelry, and I was like, oh my God, like I could totally wear this again. And yeah, it's like being able to use what you have, see the abundance around you, whether that's people in your life, where you're at, like support, or the tree that's around you, like your yard, nature, a trail you can go to. Like literally, there's so much around us to access that like abundance, and that I didn't ever really see as abundance. Like I thought it was always monetary until I had that experience with money, and I was like, wait a minute, okay, if that's not what it is, what is it? And so then I've had to figure out what it is for me, because I do think that we all experience it differently. Like I feel like abundance is different for everybody. So as soon as you find kind of what that means to you, then it's like if things start to kind of open up. But yeah, learning to work with what you have, work with the hair you have, work with the body you have, honor everything. It's like go back to like gratitude, having gratitude and honor with the things that are in your current existence, or a reality, even though you might want to be in another reality. Like, can you just honor whatever is there right now? and enjoy it because
I love that you said that too, wanting to be in another reality, because our brains
yeah.
will take us to that other reality. When you start doing this work,
Mhm.
usually people will teach you to, like, where do you want to go? What is your vision?
Mhm.
And then you spend your time in the imagination. But
Mhm.
the work is marrying the imagination with your current reality.
Mhm. And
You
that's again
guys.
why I love to flirt with her because it's like I
Oh my
am
God. Back
it
to the
doesn't feel
flirting.
as attached. It doesn't feel as attached. And it's like, okay, yes, this is what I want. I think that I want to experience in the future. I don't know because I haven't really experienced that in my now right now. So it's like, can I flirt with that to be like, okay, let's see how I can bring that into my reality now, kind of quicker, quote unquote. You're closing the gap a little bit. But at the same time, I mean, we know that our reality can't change if we're always trying to like project ourselves into something else. So it's like, and even when I have done that, and, I did that when I wanted to go out and travel, and I was like, oh, I don't want to work this job. I just want to travel. I want to sell my house. Like, and I did that. And then I did all those things. And then after the fact, I was like, shit, I really would love to experience that house again with those people again and that job again and just soak it all up as much as I could because I was living in the future so much. I kind of missed it when I was there. So that's even
Oh,
where
that's
I'm
when that
at.
sense of home, that
Yeah.
feeling like you wanted that home feeling. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's the word for you. I love words though, like back to
Mhm.
words mean things differently. I realize that abundance, prosperity, and money are three different things. So I'll let you guys
Ooh.
chew on that. I'm not
Yeah.
even gonna
Okay.
explain it because I don't have the words for it. I'm still learning.
I'm
One
gonna write that
day,
down.
write it down. They're three different things, energetics. So
What did you
yeah,
say? Abundance, prosperity, and what was the other one?
and money.
Oh yeah, and money.
Yeah, they're three different things.
Yeah, I've thought about this a lot, just the past recent months, actually from the new year, because I don't really set like goals or resolutions. I like to set the intention of the energy of the year and really just focus on that. And so my word of the year that I chose was initiation. And
Ooh.
yeah, which is kind of like a weird
Okay,
word to choose, I
I
think.
this is reminding me because I've been wanting to bring back the Manifestor, the human design stuff in the
Mm,
conversation.
yeah.
So, do you know, like, what do you know about being a manifestor? Or do you know?
I don't know much. I
Okay.
I feel like every time I hear it, it goes in and goes out. Like I haven't been able to hold the information. So I feel like in different ways, like I haven't really grasped what it means to me, I guess, in different ways. So I would love to hear what maybe the way that you describe it might land differently for me. But yeah.
And that's like the cool thing about following different people is that people will explain it. And this is the the beauty if everybody honored the way they're meant to express themselves, and then that person might hear that same subject that they've been listening to, but everybody says it the same way. But if you explain it in your own words,
Mhm.
it's going to hit different. And words are actually, I mean, words are magic, you guys.
Yeah.
Um,
There's spells.
so manifestors, they are meant to follow their urges. They have a closed and impactful aura. So people don't know what you're up to, usually, unless you invite them in and tell them what's going on. And that's a part of your strategies. Always telling people what you're up to. You're also meant to follow your urges. But
Mm,
whatever that looks like, not even caring about how that may come off or affect other people. Like, don't be people pleaser about it. People are meant to be impacted by your energy.
mm,
So follow your urges, informing is your strategy. You are the initiator, you don't finish things. You're meant to start things, and people will carry that idea or energy that you brought forth in the world through your words into the physical world, whatever it looks like, whatever that project is. And people are meant to carry it forward for you. You're not meant to sit there and keep hammering away on it. You're meant to pivot to the next urge that you're onto.
mm.
I know about this because I'm a manifesting generator, so I'm the hybrid of both, and I get the vibe for the pivot. Um, you have a not self theme of anger and peace. This is really funny that like I know this now because I've had so many like manifestors like coming into my field lately. And knowing that you're meant to do what you want to do. Um, Not everybody's gonna get it, but that's okay. You're not self theme and your self theme. So your self theme is peace. So it's really interesting. So you're gonna feel like I'm meant to be impactful, but all I want is peace. But
Mm,
they're both. You're meant to be impactful in the way you are in peace. That's
mm,
your alignment. Your signpost for pivoting is anger, like you're pushing too much in one direction. You're meant to pivot from that. It could be one direction, like one little tweak, one little or a big adjustment, but that's you
mhm,
to find out, like figure out for yourself. Like, are you pushing too much? Are you forcing?
mhm, mhm, mhm. Yeah. I'll just like speak a little bit about that before you keep going. I So this like totally lands actually for me right now because I have followed my urges. Like that's exactly what I feel like I've been doing just this past like, I don't know, 5 months, I guess, is like following the urges where it's like, I'm going to create a new YouTube channel. I'm going to do some cooking on the channel. Now I'm going to
It
do
makes
interview.
sense.
And it's like I literally am like, where's all this coming from? And usually I would just like overthink those things. Like old version of me would do that. Like, okay, well, what's the actual strategy? What's the plan? Plan it all out. And now I have like, I get the idea, I have the urge, I do it. And so it's like way more of a very much of a, like an actionable experience that I've had recently where it's landed so much for me where I'm like, okay, like there's really no overthinking happening. It's literally just like, I have the idea for the video. I put it on and I record and I do it. It's like, so I
You're
have really been
informing,
following.
you're doing,
Yeah.
and you're resting. Informing, doing,
Yes.
resting over and over and over
And
again.
oh my God, that's just like such a, like, that blows my mind. And then the same thing for the anger.
That's so
Like,
good.
and I've had a few people reflect this to me where they're like, can notice like some big and subtle differences like in the way that I am now. And one of my friends was just like, "Wow, you're like way more fiery right now. Like you're like it's kind of more
Yes.
and more intense, even more intense than before." And then I feel that I used to never really understand when people would feel angry or upset because it wasn't something that really ever came into my
I
like
mean,
field of
you
experience.
changed your energetics,
I
like
know.
literally your
And
new
now
birth date.
and I literally now, like, if I'm frustrated or something, or I don't want to do it, or I have that unalignment what you're saying about the anger, I now go, oh, and it's like that, like, I literally, it's a body response. Like, and I'm like, oh, this is so weird. I used to never really do this. And so I feel that anger come in when I know that I'm butting up against things where it's like, I shouldn't be doing this. I've overspent. I need to turn inwards again. And then I go back into peace when I have that. So I have a very real experience of those two things. So that's just so cool. That's so cool.
What was your profile?
I think it was a 2-4. Let me double check.
2-4. I don't
Um,
remember what a ego authority is, but I'll message you on TikTok whenever I. Right now, she's on TikTok, you guys, but you'll not know in a couple of months where she is next.
right. I'm on TikTok. I'm actually on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. I'm on YouTube. I'm on a lot of platforms. I just
But
started
if you
writing a
want her to
Substack.
message you back, message her on
Yeah.
TikTok.
Message me on TikTok. That's very yeah, that's where I've been living on the interwebs. I'm not a very great texter, guys. It's like either call me or message me on TikTok.
Even the emails. Like I emailed
Oh,
her
yeah,
and
no.
she's like, I just saw your email like a week later or something.
I know. And I've been trying to get better at that because like I'm a business lady, and so I'm like, I need to
I'm a
check my
business
emails more.
lady. I love that. Oh, is that how you
Yeah.
wear it now? Like, I'm a business lady.
Like I I don't I guess that's the first time I've really said that, but like
It sounded
I'm
like it was.
yeah, that's the first time I really kind of said that, but it's just like Well, what actually has shifted for me is like treating content because it is, but it's like I used to think about like my side projects or like what I want to do or my creations as this like side thing. So I'd be like, oh, like my creativity or my project. And that's like how I would talk about it of like this thing that I was still kind of like shameful around. And so now when I talk about if I'm recording a YouTube video, if I'm recording TikToks, if I'm writing a sub, any of my creative stuff that I am creating a career as a creator. So I say, yeah, I'm going to work. Like I'm working. So like this is my job. This is what I do. And so even when I go up and I'm like going to do a big recording day, it's like, okay, I'm going to work. Like I'll see you in a couple hours. And there's a YouTube creator that I follow, her name's Tess. And so she helps people like with their YouTube content of like to like how to grow on YouTube right now. And like her thing is like, oh, we're clocking in to the office of like social media, which I absolutely love. And so that started to kind of change the way that I viewed myself, my time, and me as a creator to be like, oh no, this is work. Like this is my job now. I'm choosing this to be my career. I'm setting the foundations. And so, yeah, so like now it's like it's accepting that identity and accepting that responsibility too. And yeah, so just the other day I was like, man, I need to get better on my emails. But part of that is like I don't have any notifications on my phone
Me
because
neither.
I was trying to be
I
way
wonder
more
about that
present
too.
in life. Yeah.
I
So
wonder about that also.
yeah. And I'm like, oh no. And so yeah, so I've been recently, and what I don't want to turn my notifications back on, but I might like set like little check-ins for myself to where I specifically go in and like check my like a responding chunk because I get so much into like flow of things where then and if I see it and I don't respond right away, then it's out my window. And yeah, so then I was thinking about like, okay, how can I incorporate like a structure within my week where it's like, all right, every other day or Mondays and Wednesdays or whatever, we spend 15 minutes and see what we have to respond to, like check email, check messages, check, and so
I love
I
this.
think
I
that's
love
what
that
I'm going
you're
to start
talking about
doing.
this. So what
Yeah.
I've been doing, because learning, so there's these things called, if you ever get a chance to look it up, it's very helpful in human design. There are these things called variables. They're
Mhm.
the arrows on your chart. They all mean a certain thing.
Oh,
So if they're
yeah.
left facing, they're more structured. If they're right facing, they're more flowy. I had this conversation with the ladies yesterday on my podcast, and one of them is all left facing arrows. She's super structured. And the other one, the only thing that she had structured in her chart was the one that applied to the body, and the rest is like ebb and flow. And
Mhm.
she was like, I'm pretty sure this podcast is as structured as it is because Renee is the one who has all the left facing arrows.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I have 3 right-facing arrows where I ebb and flow, and the way I think is structured or approached
Oh,
ideas. So it's very helpful to like, oh, this
yeah.
is how I move about my day. And then I
Yeah.
noticed also when you're talking about like now that I've expressed out into the universe and the ethers that I'm ready to be a full-time content creator. Every time around 9 o'clock, all my tech wants to like shut down.
Whoa.
It's my time to wind down. Because I would keep trying to like make like keep editing into the night.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, this is your wind down time for bed. And
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Because that's
That's
like,
insane.
yeah, you become your own, and that's what's really interesting. Also of like the nervous system and just energetically when you go from a very structured way to work where like if you have the 9 to 5 or for us we were 12 hours and it's like when you don't have that structure and then you go into right into flow, you don't know how to structure your own time. Like you don't know how to like structure a content business or a business itself. Like it's like you're like, wait, what do I do? Like so it's relearning things, how you know balance that structure and flow, which is also like the masculine and the feminine. And I had to go into both extremes to have balance. And so now I'm incorporating the balance where it's like, okay, I can have all the flow and the creation, but now I'm getting kind of more interested in like creating systems for myself where it's like, all right, so when is my start time for work? When is my clock out time? Like, when is my off time? And not feeling like you have to be on all the time, create all the time, and
My
then
off
be like,
time's the weekends, by the way.
yeah. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, so it's like,
Yeah.
and everybody's gonna be a little bit different. I get like a
Yeah.
lot of creativity surges on the weekends sometimes. So I haven't written off
Mhm.
weekends, but I really love my mornings. So I love
Oh,
to
me
have,
too.
yeah, so I won't start like working until usually like 11, maybe 11:30, because I like to get up, I like to have my breakfast, I like to go on a walk and get outside, chat with my mom, like, so the mornings to me is, I love it being kind of a slower ease into the day. And then I love like sometimes even working in the evening, later evening, and I'll take myself to like a late night coffee shop, be out around people, because it's like this content in like online space can feel a little bit isolating because you're just like working and creating with yourself. So I love to be in cafe settings where it's like you're kind of around other bustling
Soaking
people.
up the energy. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Mhm, mhm. I love it. I love it.
What are your open centers, or what are your centers look like, do you know,
Um,
in your human design? While she's looking it up, you said something in there, the structure. Okay, this is a PSA for all you beautiful folks out there listening to this episode. Um, if you feel like your journey is not going fast enough, it's because universe wants you to learn about yourself through your slow journey.
mm,
Maybe you're not meant to move fast. Maybe you're meant to be a slower manifester. Something I talked about like in one of my earlier episodes, because when we make the decision and say the yes to, this is what I want my life to look like, instead, maybe I want to be an entrepreneur instead of a nurse, which is Stormy and my story, is that I think in 2 months it's gonna happen. For some reason, my brain's like already there, and I think that it's gonna happen in 2 months. When m- after the last 5 years, I'm like, no, it's actually, it looks like it's slower.
yeah,
But I was also able to teach myself that I can manifest in these smaller ways. We're always manifesting, right?
mhm,
So it's coming, but just not when you think it's gonna happen.
yeah, and it might look totally different than what you thought, and I had a lot of attachment to how I thought the money was gonna come in, or, like, how I thought my
Mhm.
business was gonna work, what I thought I was gonna do or teach, um, and I really, like, held on to that way too tightly for too long, and it really just, I wasn't ready for it to look different than what I pictured in my brain, and I was like, "No, it's gonna look like this," and so as soon as, like, I fulfilled those things, did those things, created those things, I feel like I was like, "Okay, I created it, I did the thing, I'm releasing it, and now I am free to move on to what else is gonna come in," and so I feel like, if it doesn't happen fast, then we can feel like, "Oh, is this the wrong path?" But I also think there's so much to having the grit to, if it is something you wanna do, half the time is you just gotta keep chugging along, you just gotta keep going, The people that continue to make it is the people that decide not to stop, and they keep betting on themselves, they keep trying, pivoting, trying different things, and exploring other things, other options, other careers, other ideas, keep having conversations with other people, and I think eventually it clicks and you're like, oh, okay, now it all kind of makes sense of why those other things didn't work out, because what maybe is in store for us is way bigger than what we could even imagine or were anticipating. So I definitely have full trust and belief in that, because I've also been very frustrated with like my path and speed, and I'm like, actually, I could be on the fastest track timeline right now. Like, I could be on the fastest timeline to get the things that I think that I want, and like, if I were to really anchor in that truth and that knowing, can I just relax into it and then just continue every day to show up in the ways that I feel like is how I want to be showing up, which is how you can flirt with that future self, is like, okay, if I want to be a content creator and I want to be known for talking about X, Y, and Z, then am I showing up, daily talking about X, Y, and Z? Like, am I doing the things to get myself there? Because it's one thing to meditate and get in the energy and wish and dream. And a lot of us can kind of stay in that upper chakra envisioning and not have so much of that embodied action coming through in our lower chakras, because we need both. We need the envision and we need the action, because we know that our brain just, whatever we're envisioning, it thinks it's real. So like, can you just continue to envision what you want to happen, but then also take those actionable steps and get to, in those flirty steps, to be able to be like, oh,
The
okay,
flirty
if I want to be
steps.
a writer, I have to show up to my desk and freaking write. Like if and my mom's doing
Mhm.
that now. So yeah, it's just I think it's just really cool. And becomes more of like a fun thing rather than it's not happening for me,
Yeah, it has
where
been
it's like,
becoming so much more fun, so much more joyful and
yeah.
pleasurable. One of my spirituality university courses that I'm revisiting is my Tantra course, and pleasure
Ooh.
is one that I'm stepping into. In fact, you guys, if you haven't seen on Substack or if you haven't subscribed, I'm writing about my Tantra journey and I'm sharing it like open, raw, and real. But it's going to be under paid subscription because I cannot be that open if I can't feel
I
safe
love
in that.
that. I
In
love that.
that.
Yeah.
But you said a bunch of stuff in there that was so juicy and good, and I lost it all.
That's okay. Wait, oh wait, it went away again. I know I really went a lot of ways. So my brain is just,
No,
I
but it
feel
was
like,
so good. All of it was
okay, so that is what my chart looks
oh, yeah.
like.
Oh, what I wanted to say, oh, wow. She has the 4 upper chakras. Oh, and her ego center defined. And then so her all her the 4 bottom chakras are open. So you might have time pressure. I can speak on like certain details of it, but just know that the colored parts is you think more in a consistent way,
Hmm.
like you are consistent in whatever the theme of that center is. And then the bottom ones, when they're white, you are more fluid in the way you express yourself based on that theme of that center. Also, you can take in other people's conditionings like that. Those are like empathic centers, if I were to describe it in some way.
Oh,
Like you
the
can
open
take in
ones.
the open ones on the
So like
bottom.
these ones down
So like
here. Okay.
yeah. So the bottom, like the one on the right, that's the solar plexus one, you can
Hmm.
inadvertently take in other people's fears
Hmm.
in that one. And there's like so many elements to it. Those are the ones that I can think of off the top of my
Yeah.
head. But also the root is a pressure center, and
Interesting.
anything that has to do with like time or how like pressure with
Mm.
time and resources. But that's very in line with the chakra system, right?
Yeah.
So back to how our when we vision, we're as humans, we've all learned how to be here in the upper chakras so easily that
Hmm.
when we're ready to manifest, make our dreams come true, use a different word if manifest doesn't align with you. I don't care about the word either, but
Hmm.
but if you're not haven't learned to have a balanced root, you're just gonna carry on away with your bigger picture dream or goal. That has been my experience. Sounds like it's the same for Stormy. And having the pressure to create the vision, but not in an aligned way.
Yeah.
At least for me, it wasn't aligned. I was
Same.
like when I first started my podcast, I was like, because I'm a manifesting generator, I can make things really fast, but I wasn't rooted in that. I
Yeah.
wasn't being here in the present moment and just responding and asking myself, is this what I want to do in this moment? So I made everything music, introduction, super
Yeah.
fast, like within a weekend. And then like a month later, I'm like, I freaking hate it all. I
Mm-hmm.
hate it all. And now like everything's just like no music, it's raw. I'm like slowly like editing my description again, but it's starting to feel like, oh, this like really like lands. It feels
Mm.
really good to me right now. I don't know if I'm settled on the description yet, so I haven't made
Oh,
a new
don't even talk
intro
to me
or
about that
anything.
stuff. I have changed my intro, my description, my name, I've changed every, because I'm a life pivot queen,
Yes.
I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel right anymore. I'm going to change it. And so I think sometimes, and I have to have very delicate balance with myself on this, because I can sometimes just change it because I think like either I change it because the energy has to move, or am I changing it because I feel like, I mean, I really try to be like, is this kind of shiny carrot syndrome where I'm just like, oh, if I just tweak this, it'll be a little bit better or whatever. And so I have to really check in with myself to say, okay, is this feel like we have to change everything again? Is that really the way to go? Or are we procrastinating doing something else? Like, do we really need another rebrand of your podcast cover and spend 12 hours on Canva editing it? Because I love to be on Canva. I'm like, is that actually what you need to
Canva's a lot of
do?
fun.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so that's kind of like my balance where I go back and forth. I haven't had that avoidance in a long time because I've worked through so much of it actively. So, but I do, I just changed everything again because I'm like, oh, it's like now it's like this flirty route. Like this is what feels good. So, yeah, I've gone back and forth with long intros, short intros, just music. Like I think it's fun. Like we get to determine our production of it because it's our podcast. So, I think
Mhm.
that's the cool way to do it. But my podcast is the same.
I love everything you said. You know what? When you talk about rebranding and stuff, like in the way that you pivot and how fast you do it, I love it
Mhm.
so much. And it reminded me of I was when I was still on Instagram, I was following a what does she do? Like graphic design. She's like a branding person. And
Mhm.
she put out a message like if you switch your branding too much, you're telling people you don't know who you are, and that made me crazy.
Mm.
When I
Whoa.
read that, that made me freaking crazy. I was like, so I get to stay the same person all the time? That would make me freaking
I feel
crazy.
like that's I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that because
I don't
I
I
think
don't.
I think that like that is the process of figuring it out. So like maybe yeah, if you've locked in fine, if I think you have to go through that process to figure it out. And then at some point I feel like okay, that's you for this amount of time or whatever, but I think that there's still enough flexibility for you to be something else. And I think a lot of people pivot, and I really enjoy seeing people be like, "Oh, I'm talking about
People
this
don't talk
now."
about the pivot. People
No, they
don't
don't.
it
It's
needs to
like,
be represented.
yeah.
People need to see that what it looks like and that it can
Mhm.
be I've been onto this new I opened up coaching spots like a couple weeks ago and it's called Becoming Your Technicolor Human because
Mm,
we've been living in this black and white world of duality and things should look like this or be like this
yeah.
and this is the way to do it because this is the right way. This is well,
Mhm.
whatever to be happy and all that. But what if we stepped into our multi-dimensionality? What
Mm,
like is that possible? What is that expression? What does that
yeah.
look like through you?
Yeah.
And I was like, I feel like Stormy's totally like call it becoming your Technicolor human.
I love
Stormy's totally
that.
her Technicolor human, like all the
Thank you.
time. She's so like she embodies her
Technicolor.
multi dimensionality. Like I I'm like it makes me go gaga. Like I'm like so I'm so
I
proud of
love
you.
that. Thank
I'm
you.
so proud of you.
I'm so happy that you've been able to witness me on this journey because like yeah, you saw me at like the at ground zero, kind of at the beginning of it all. That was my first spiritual retreat when we met. Like I was just getting into things. Like I just started
I
having
didn't even
energy.
realize it until you shared that to me with me
Yeah.
later that that was your first experience. I
Yeah.
had this impression that everybody knew, but
Right.
nobody knew. Nobody
No.
knew. Nobody even read Akashic records.
No.
Probably a couple
And
of them.
I jumped in with 2 feet with that because, I open channel real easily, really quickly, and I also think I mean, there's pros and cons to that because I just again, I didn't know how to hold it. I didn't know how to, really have it be, delivered to people and to myself, in the time that it came so quickly. I just was like, "Ah," it was crazy how intense it was. And so when I worked with a mentor, I learned how to channel light language, and I was going that track in spiritual. And I still use light language in like my personal meditations. I'll record for like my course and and like clients and stuff, and I use it in my day-to-day life. But originally when I had first started this journey, I was like, you know, blasting it out to the socials and stuff. And so it's interesting how you could see like your evolution change, and that's the part of it. Like, you know, that's kind of the point. Like that's the plot. Like the only it's not a new thing to say, but the constant thing in life is change. So if you're not changing, then you're kind of doing it wrong. Or if you're resisting change, then you've lost the plot of being here on earth, because that's, or like just the universe in general, like nothing stays the same. And so it's just been really cool for you to be able to witness like all my different yeah,
Iterations and
iterations
what
of
she's up
myself.
to.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I want to say something, and I got this from like John and I talk all the time. Like, I share this story in the last episode how like I found my would-be soul brother in this weird spiritual
Mhm.
journey of life.
Yeah.
And he said it actually takes a lot of effort to stay the same. It takes a lot
Mm.
more
Yeah.
effort to not change. And I
So
was
true.
like, I felt that. I was like,
So much resistance. Like,
every
oh,
time I tried to like fit myself into a certain box or tried to
yeah.
stay the same, energy depleted. And I'm a manifesting generator. I'm supposed to be like this like unlimitless supply of energy.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then when you're not following your joy, your excitement, your pleasure or whatever words,
Yeah.
you'll
Totally
deplete
goes.
yourself.
Yeah.
If you're not, if you are a
I feel
manifesting
that.
generator or generator type and you're not filled with energy,
Mhm.
you need to make some adjustments
Yeah.
to
And that's
your
how you
approach.
can feel like, okay, I'm living the path that feels really good for me. And that's like what I feel right now. Like I feel the most settled, the most grounded, the most rooted, but also, um, you know, flexible. It's just that there's a lot of feelings that I'm experiencing right now recently where I wished I could experience. And so I think like just keep trusting your journey really of where you're at. Keep doing the different work that pops up, the different people that pop up in your reality, and every person I worked with, every podcast or every little thing that I did and or course or whatever that I did on my journey, like I think has definitely attributed to how I feel right now. And it's cool to like see all those iterations of yourself and have so much like love and gratitude towards how many versions of you it took to be the version of you right now. And so I think that's just a really beautiful thing to kind of like come back to, because it's like, whoa, that's so cool. Yeah, just what a wild experience.
Ugh,
Yeah.
life is a ride. And one more thing I want to add
Hmm.
is that spirituality doesn't look like any particular thing.
Hmm.
It's like the energetics, it's the feeling, it's the way you carry yourself in the
Yeah.
world. So, like with the whole fight between religion and whatever that's going out there in the world, I want to say that people can heal in whatever they believe in. It's all energetics. Just FYI. I had a wrote a Substack lately about my sister. I went through this whole spiritual path. I was like at the beginnings, same as you, like when we met in Panama. I'm going down the woo, esoteric, spiritual path, metaphysical, all the things. I shared all of this with my family, and I even like did facilitated breath work like within the last year.
Mm.
And then I did not see this coming. It was not on my 2025 bingo card. My sister and my mom are all, and my dad, they're all getting baptized, born again Christian,
Whoa.
right? And my mom, I was like, and there was a lot of things that cropped up with me for that because I shared like my Catholic wounds and why if I wanted like returning to spirituality, I wanted to look the way I wanted to look. So a lot of thoughts came up in my head, like, oh my God, are they gonna like not love me anymore because I don't believe the same things they do? Like things like that. Like everybody knows what that. I mean, like if you don't resonate with religion, you know those stories in your
Mhm.
head. So I was like, you know what? Let me just see what happens. Because they already know who I am at this point, what I'm
Yeah.
into.
Yeah.
And me and my sister have been able to have like the most healing conversations about our beliefs
Mm.
and about what we believe and not be mad at each other or anything. And it's like, and it comes back like we know we both want the same thing in deep down inside, like as
Mm.
humans. And then my mom one time was like inviting me to go to church. It's like, hey, do you want to go to church with me? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know what? I'm good. Like half jokingly, half like, I was like, and part like truthful. I was like, I'm good. Like, I don't think the church wants me. I don't think they agree with my lifestyle. And she was like, that's fine. That's okay. I still love you. And I was like, oh, I'm making a pouting face. Like, okay. Thanks,
Yeah.
mom. And she actually is inviting me to her baptism. She's like
Wow.
paying for my transportation to go there.
Wow.
So
Oh, so that's must be really
she's
important for her for you to be there.
she said, I'm gonna pay for your transportation to come. I really want you to be there because you're important to
Mm.
me. And I was like,
Oh,
my mom has never spoke to me like this my whole entire life.
wow.
So it's been a big deal to watch that all unfold. Like I get
Yeah.
instead of like listening to what's going on, like this mainstream narrative and like this is how you should feel if you identify in this certain way, know that there are people out there that exist in a different way. Because I've actually met a lot of people who practice both spirituality and religion at the same time their
Mhm.
whole lives before the whole I don't know how you would frame it, like the religion and politics thing became a thing.
Mhm.
So they're out there if you're present, you're wanting to call it into your life, and you'll find somebody who can embody that and make you feel safe with other people who have supposedly opposing beliefs to you.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I think it's an interesting relationship to look at, like, between religion and spirituality. I think, um, my relationship to it has evolved over time to both. That's interesting that, like, your family's having that experience and you're having that experience, like, with them right now. Because I do see even a lot of, like, spiritual people that have identified as spiritual then go back to Christianity recently. I don't know
I've
if
seen
you've
that
seen.
too.
And I'm like, what
I've
an
seen that, yeah.
interesting wave. And I just wonder, I don't know. I mean, you can only know from the outside of what you perceive to be happening or whatnot. But I think that a lot of it can be, I mean, all of it can be really helpful. I think your relationship to it and um, what you're outsourcing to other people, or whether that be to people you're getting healings from, or to like a pastor or your church or the book or whatever. Like, I think that, I don't know, I think that it's not as black and white as I thought it used to be. I am quite gray around holding both as truth for people. I don't actively practice religion, but I do see a lot of religious concepts that I agree with, and then a lot that I don't. So it's interesting. I think that it's like I used to be very like, oh, anyone religious is just like quote
Mhm.
unquote not.
It's a programming
Yeah,
too.
yeah, it is. Yeah,
To
so
believe
yeah.
that religious people are all the same way.
Yeah, true. But
Yeah.
I also think that it's I mean, yeah, there's so much to unpack on both sides, but that's
I
really
know,
cool
and we're,
that you're
like, talking
I
about it
know.
right at the end.
Right at the end. I'm like, I don't there's so many rabbit holes I could go down, but
Yeah.
I just love that your family is like finding like it sounds like they're finding healing and connection, and the way that your mom can say that is just so beautiful, and the way that your sister can come to terms, the both of you, is just a really, yeah, is really positive. So if it's having a positive impact on their lives and in your relationship, then I think it's a pro, even though you're like, yeah, I don't want to go to church with you or be baptized either. And I still believe what I believe. But I think that's where you get so much growth and healing and expansion in that is when you're able to hold somebody that has a different idea or a different thought or a
Mhm.
belief and not
Mhm.
feel triggered or charged around it and be like, oh, okay, cool. Like have curiosity around that to be like, oh, why do you think that? Or how has that affected your life? And then you can have a neutral conversation amongst each other. That's how politics used to be, I feel like. And now it's so charging for people.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I just think having that neutrality is a really cool tool to that we can access towards our lives, and not everything has to be a fight, or
Mm-mm.
because you're
No.
not agreeing with one aspect of my opinion doesn't mean that we can't have a conversation or whatnot. So that's cool for you guys to
Yeah.
experience. Trippy. Yeah, not on your
It's
2025
really
bingo card.
no, definitely not on my 2025
Ah,
bingo card. I was like, "You're what? A
yeah.
what?
Yeah.
What does this all mean?"
Honestly. Oh
But, like,
man.
if anybody's experiencing something like you didn't expect this and you have a lot of ideas behind a certain label, sit with it, don't react, just, like, sit with it and see what happens and observe.
Yeah.
And see what unfolds. Meet it with
Yeah.
curiosity, openness. Like, in the end, all we want, like, as a human is love and acceptance.
Mhm.
So
And that's like, just speaking about that a bit, that's coming back to like my word of the year of initiation, where it was like, okay, every
initiator, you
experience.
manifestor.
Yes. I was like, every experience that is going to come through my doorway, across my desk, got everything that's going to come relationship wise, struggle, celebration, good, bad, however I perceive it. How can I take that experience and see that as an initiation towards myself to go like deeper within my being and deeper within what I'm here to call in, what I'm here to do on earth, how I'm here to serve and help. Like, how is it initiating deeper into maybe my shadows or into my light or into my darkness? And so I think that we can have a challenging experience and then just want to push it away and not, just be like, why is this happening to me? And not that I really have that thought anymore. I wanted to go even a step further and be like, okay, what is this really pulling me into? Like, how can I squeeze this to get as much juice out of this experience possible so I can soak everything up from this happening right now so I can learn everything I possibly can. And that goes back to the presence of like being back at the house when I wanted to be traveling. And then I was traveling and I was like, shit, now I want to enjoy the house. So it's like wherever you are right now, at one point in your life, you're going to look back to maybe the freedom you had or the time freedom or the people that you're with, that you lived with or whatever. And you're going to look at that aspect of your life and be like, oh, if I wish I could just go back to that just for a day and enjoy what that was like again, because I'll never be able to access that again. So just one of those
Mhm.
perspective shifts that have really helped me move through like harder chapters where I'm like, oh, I wish I was, further along, or I wish I was here. I would be happy. And it's like that classic thing, I'll be happy when. And it's like, okay, can
Yeah.
I access happiness, all the feelings that you want to feel,
Now.
access happiness and abundance, joy, and all those things that we can have like literally right now. And there is nothing that is going to make you feel that way. Like you have to learn how to internally,
Yeah.
um, have them happen within.
Access
So
those feelings. Those
yeah,
feelings are not out there. They're within you. It's not
yeah,
until it's not you get this thing and then like that's how we been spending money for a long time based on
yeah,
our programming is that we get that thing and won't be happy. The
right.
happiness is within you or whatever word that you're looking for. My way of stepping back into this present moment, I'm going to end this after this because it's been like a million hours. Um as usual. Um is when I am in my hyper focus mode doing all the things because I like do a lot of things and I let my energy carry me away with myself. And 75% of the world is manifesting generators or generators. So one of you guys are gonna resonate with this, or even if you're non-energy type, is that is this what I want to be doing in this present moment? is a great question. Like, is this how I want to be spending my time? And if it is something you want to be spending your time on, how do I want to feel in this moment while I spend my time doing this thing? And I'll come back to this example I shared in another episode, but I love it. Is I took a shower and I took a moment and I was like really like washing my body and I was like me stepping into my pleasure. I was like, actually, I am having a pleasurable experience, but I never noticed it before. I never
Mm-hmm.
took a moment to like get out of my brain and into my body and
Mm-hmm.
feel the sensation of me washing and nurturing my skin
Mm.
by just taking a shower. And these are all accessible within you every single moment of the day if you take a moment and take a step back and get rooted into this present moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so true. I have that same sensation and feeling when I dry brush and like put oil on. It's like because the dry brush like kind of hurts. Like it's like immediately
Oh,
brings
does
me
it?
into not that it hurts, but like it's not like not enjoyable, but like I mean it feels good when you're doing it. I don't know how to describe it. It's like but it
I
immediately
guess this
pulls
is
you into your
my
body cuz you're like it's like a tougher bristle almost that's like exfoliating your
oh
skin and then also helping your lymph flow. And so like every time I dry brush, like I immediately get so present in my body because it's like you're feeling exactly what's happening. And then you're like, oh, okay, that kind of feels good. But it's exactly what you're talking about with like being in the shower, of like pulling yourself into your body where sometimes we can go the whole day and forget that like we're in our bodies and like have the relationship with our bodies.
Also, Stormy, when she changed her birth date, she turned into a Taurus, which is
Yes.
all about pleasure and the finer things of life and
Mm.
like just
Mhm.
groundedness and all the things. So she's a really good model for taking a step back and enjoying yourselves
Yes.
and bringing you back into your body and
Mhm.
enjoying the moment and flirting with your future self. By the way,
Yeah.
okay, this is the last thing I'll say
Okay.
officially. When you said flirting with your future self and you were talking about how you saw her in your phone, so like you like in your visual, like you saw her in her phone screen.
Yeah.
After I saw you post that on your on your TikTok. By the way, her TikTok is activating. Follow her. Um, I went on a walk and I was like flirting with my future self. I went on a walk with her and I like kind of held my hand out we're holding hands and going on
Oh,
a walk and we did the
yeah.
same thing. And I've been seeing my future self for a long time now. And she wears a red dress. I think I shared this with you before in the last time I interviewed you. And she
Mm.
has really long hair
Mhm.
and she's just always dancing and like
Mm.
smiling, happy. She's like filled with like levity and all the things. And she's like, well, don't worry about it. You don't have to look like me. This is just like the energy that you're stepping into. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that's nice to know. And then we just like, and we didn't even talk to each other. We were just like smiling and just walking.
Oh, that's so nice. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah,
Thank you
it's
for
cool.
making content that's activating.
You're welcome. You know, you are not the first person that told me that. She was like, you just yeah, she was saying the same thing. She's like, I don't even know how to describe it, but I definitely get codes every time I land on your page. And I was like, oh, cool. So that's exciting because the energy doesn't, can look so many different ways, which is so cool. But
Yeah.
yeah. So thank you for
Um,
having me on.
yeah, you're welcome. I don't think we need to say where to find you because we've talked about it so many times, a billion different times in this.
I'll
So
just
I'm
say maybe what the name is, I guess.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, my podcast is The Stormy Show, so you can find that on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, even. I'm on YouTube, Stormy Sage Media, and also on Instagram is Stormy Sage Media, and then on TikTok is The Stormy Show Podcast. So I've been trying to change my name on TikTok, and it won't let me. Like,
What
it
is
keeps
it? What is it on TikTok again?
it's The Stormy Show Podcast is the handle. And I wanna
Oh,
switch it to match everything else to Stormy Sage Media, but it says okay, and then it's like says it
it
will
doesn't.
work, and then yeah, and then it doesn't go. So it might be like a technical glitch. Maybe it's just supposed to be that way. I don't know. So I've left it for now. But yeah, and I write on Substack now too. So that's a weekly flirty transmission from the multiverse is what I say. So I talk about more flirty with your flirt or flirt with your future self content and just kind of more life things of what I'm going through. And then I have a course that's called Life Pivot
Oh, she has cooking videos on
Playlist.
YouTube, by the way.
Yes, I do.
Her cooking
And
journey.
yeah, and on YouTube, so there's a lot of different contents, like what you want, pick your ride is kind of like what what I should say. But that was another side thing where like I always thought that like I couldn't cook, I didn't know how to cook, and I wasn't the cook in the family, other members of the family were. And so I just always like assumed that I was bad
I
at it. And
resonate with that
so
story.
oh, yeah, and then my most recent ex-boyfriend, it was his birthday, and I all of a sudden was like, "Oh, I wanna," because I was getting more into, like, ingredients and learning about ingredients and stuff and what's in our food, and so I was like, "I'm gonna make his cake from scratch and his frosting." So I made this whole cake from scratch, and I actually had so much fun and got so much joy in the process of it. I was like, "Oh my god, did I just enjoy myself in the kitchen?" I was like, "What is happening?" And so then my friend came to town. I made her like 2 different birthday cakes, and so I just was like, I kind of want to start like an oven adventure. And they're called oven adventures because you go in for cooking, and then you're also like having spiritual side quests that are happening. And yeah, so I've had a lot of fun with that. And the next few videos that'll come out is I'm going to focus more on kind of like healthy recipes for the summer and just nourishing your body and different things like that. So yeah, that's like kind of a fun, feels random, but they all kind of go together. So, and that's one of my focuses on flirting with my future self is getting back to feeling really healthy and comfortable in my body. So I've been working on nourishing it in different ways. So yeah, that's it.
Yay! Well,
Yeah.
thanks for coming back on. I'm sure we'll probably be talking again sometime in the future.
Yeah, of course, always
On
through our
something.
through
Maybe
our
we'll do a live
pivots.
on TikTok.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
all the pivots.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Thank you for hanging around.
Bye guys. See you on
Bye.
online on the flirty side.